What's up everyone, Duro here. Today I got something different prepared for you guys. Today I will be showing any of my gameplay because today I prepared a tier list of broken arrow specialization combos. So the way how I built it was that I focused on two pillars. The first one was versatility, which means that how the combination was able to deal in many situations that you can come to during playing. And the second is efficiency. I built this tier list based on 5v5 games and play in ranked, the one and only game mode of Broken Arrow currently. If more game modes are added in the future, I can bring more. Maybe in the future I will get into 1v1 and then I will do the same for other game modes. I built this tier list based on my own experience, but I also looked at a lot of other players that play high level, such as Ben, Demo, NBK, Arturo Diaz, and such. But I'm mainly applying my approach to this game and my, I think, unique playstyle. So this is how the final tier list looks like. You can pause the video and take a look if you want, and if you would love to see my reasoning behind the tier list I built, please continue watching. And if you like that, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments what you think about it. So blue parts are Americans, red are Russians. As you can see, Americans are more dominating in the upper part of the table. I think that quite reflects the current meta. However, what I want to stress this, and I will tell this during the multiple times during this video, that if the combination is in the lower part of the table, it doesn't mean that it's useless. People still play it. It's just less efficient and less versatile. But you can still play, for example, Guards Mechanized or Airborne Special Forces. So let's start with the Russians. So in S tier we have the Guards VDV. So I have those divs in the same order over here, as you can see. This is strongest Russian spike combo in my opinion. You have very strong infantry. A lot of people are not using the DuroSVK combo. I think this combo is one of the most cost efficient in the game. Just bring it in BTRD. You have a double cornet squad. You have a Verba, which has the better, or maybe the best manpad in the game. And you also bring Quad Motostroke and Sturmoviki because of B15 Kurganets. This one can deal easily with Bradley or AMPV. You have quite strong armor. I don't bring Armata, I don't consider it cost efficient. It's too expensive and it dies to enemy airstrikes as easily as any other vehicles. Terminators are your bread and butter, and you can support them with T90s or T90N Arena. I don't put APS into every vehicle, as you can see, and as you will see in both American and Russian specs that I'm going to show you. But I believe that it's good to combine some APS units with non-APS, as sometimes you might face a wall of javelins and then it will not get through. Book M2, this is the most cost-efficient unit in the game at the moment. It can one-shot any plane. The amount of F-35s or F-16 I killed with this is countless. So one of the best SAMs in the game. Quality because of the precise rounds, and you also have a very good logistics. +1 or the fire supports. And then you also have a decent helicopter and air tab. Not much, but enough to be sufficient. One thing I forgot to mention is that the main difference in the meta between Russian and Americans, in my opinion, is that as Russia, you have to move a lot and you have to play a bit aggressively, push more, because if you don't move, you will get struck by American airplanes or their artillery. The U.S. artillery has longer reach, and their planes are more stealth, so sometimes you can't react fast enough. When playing Americans, I'm playing more sophisticated, and my approach is less brutal, let's say, but I'm playing more. It's just more sophisticated approach, let's say. So, the next one is Guards Motorized. It's also S tier, but since I put this in order, then it's clear that Guards VDV is better. Then you have Marine Air, Armor Air for US, and then you have Guards Moto. Guards Moto still belongs to S tier because you have the Terminators and strong tanks, but you also have extremely strong infantry. The Specnas crew, the SSOs, Kozliks are very good at the opening, and you have the strong support tab where you have both long range SAM and the OLSA, which is very good dealing with enemy choppers. And you have the Tornado Grad, very painful if you spam them properly. You have excellent logistics. And I would say that the main difference between the Guards VDV and the Guards Moto is that in Guards Moto you are more relying on your supports and logistics and anti-air, while in Guards VDV you have a stronger air force and a bit more cost-efficient infantry, but you have more elite in Guards Moto. Okay, that was the S tier for Russians. Let's go to the A tier. There's only one Russian deck in there, and that's Mechanized VDV. It's almost the same as Guards VDV, but the only difference is that instead of Terminators and T90s, you are using BMP3s and T72s. Yeah, I think it's a slight downgrade. That's why it's one tier lower, but you are still quite powerful with the infantry vehicles tab. Instead of Koalicja, you are switching to Malka, so you don't have the precise rounds anymore, but very strong ones. And you have a Tulpan instead of DOS-1, but it has higher range and it can still shoot some precise rounds, but not many. Unlike Guards VDV, you have a bit more points in the air, so you can upgrade your Su-35s. I decided to give them ECM pods so they can survive actually if they fly a bit further than I anticipated. And I also could bring one more plane, so I decided to bring Su-57 with the cluster. So that's it. Now let's go to the B tier. So the first one is Guards Coastal. This is a quite good deck. Don't get me wrong. Just because it's in the B tier doesn't mean that it's useless or something, and quite the opposite. The main difference is that you don't have the ASF with long range missile anymore, and you kinda rely on Chernie Barety and Morskaya Pechota. Plus, you can still bring the Terminators and T90, and you still have a lot of points in your support deck. However, you don't have the stealth snipers anymore, so I decided to add the Specnas BMF. They're still quite stealthy, although not as stealth, but they have this laser designation option. So I think this is still good, and that's why it's first in the B tier. Then we have a mechanized coastal. Again, very similar to Guards Coastal. The only difference is that you are trying to use the coastal infantry in mechanized BMPs. Yeah, that's the main point of this deck. Coastal infantry, which is really strong, in mechanized BMPs. Of course, you can still bring DuroSVK or Vampire, but I brought these only because I can bring more BMP3s. I'm just spamming them because they are so good. Not as good as a Terminator, but you can still do plenty of damage with them. Tanks are quite good in this deck, and instead of Koalicja, you again switching to Malka. Instead of TOS, you have a Tulpan. You have a bit stronger air. This time I could bring two MiG-29s, and I'm also very glad to show you this, something that I used previously as a meme unit, but I found it very effective. So Tu-22, but not with cruise missiles, but instead I brought these small smart bombs. So 8 cap 1500s with one strike, you will always, if done properly, you will always get your points back. And this plane can do the afterburner and go down in the altitude, so many times you're able to survive. So you select 8 targets, the plane will do a fast flight, drop everything on the target as precisely as you clicked, and then it will try to fly away, sometimes survive. Really good one, or the precise carpet bombing, how I call it. Then we have the mechanized motorized. It's a very popular deck, a lot of players are playing it, and I think it's mainly because you have extremely strong support tap, and not only you have very strong Tornado and Grad, which returns its investments very quickly, you also have awesome logistics, which can be used to bring both supplies and infantry. Infantry-wise, you still have the Specnaz and SSO, and the way how you play is that you bring those two either with the Ural or the K16. You can't unfortunately use the BMP3 with them anymore because BMP3 is suited for 7 persons while the SSO and Specnaz has both 8, so this is a bit unfortunate. I wish you could bring them in, and if that would be the option, then this combo would be much higher. But you still have opportunity or means to deal with everything that enemy throw at you. You have the Su-27, which for some reason is performing very good in air fights, and Su-22 with the cluster bombs, which can deal with any enemy tank. Then we go into C tier. We are now getting into area where divisions are not, divisions. I'm still used to divisions from war now. The combinations of the specializations are not useless. You can still play them, don't get me wrong, but you just already have a better alternative above. So there's really no many reasons to play those. So let's start with Coastal VDV. The Coastal VDV is quite good because you still have some good tanks and you have also BMP3s, so Demas. Yeah, like here. Not bad. Yeah, you have the tanks, you have the spruts, you have just enough points in support, although you can't bring anything that would be good at bombing like artillery or MLRS. You have very strong air. However, if you want to play this, why don't you already choose mechanized VDV or guards VDV? Because you know what I mean. The coastal VDV doesn't give you anything more than in these above here. Guards VDV and mechanized VDV are simply superior to coast VDV. Then we have a coastal moto. And same as here, you have a plenty of units in support tab. You have a plenty of good logistics. You have quite decent air. You have a lot of points in helicopter tab for this kind of specialization. But the thing is that, again, these Sodemas, the BMPs, are not going to be able to pick up the specnas, so we have to bring them separately. And you really start lacking the armored part of your deck. So if you want to play motorized and you want to smash your enemy hard with Tornado or Grat, why don't you pick Guards motorized or Mechanized motorized? Mechanized motorized is one of the most ultimate support decks in this game. So that's it. I see people playing those. I'm not saying they're wrong or they shouldn't. I'm just saying that there are many better options. And let's go to the D tab. Those are the weakest combinations. The first one is Guards Mechanized. The reason I put them in the D is because both Guards and Mechanized excel in the same area. So when you combine these two, you don't get anything as an advantage. Let me show you. So you have a ton of points in infantry and vehicles. You can bring Terminators, T-90s. You can also bring BMP-3s, B-15s. But the problem is that the way how this game is built, you will never be able to utilize all of this because you will just not have enough points. Yeah, and secondly, you will be extremely slow. There is no helicopter in the game, in this specialization. There is no wheeled transport. Everything is tracked. Everything is slow. And even though you have strong support tab, you have very weak logistics. So you can rely on slow logistics, on slow transports, slow fighting vehicles, very few points in the air tab. I can imagine you can, if you want, you can play this combo in a highway map in the middle, or you can play in the middle of that center map where your teammates would cover the flanks and cover your sides. You can focus on grinding in the middle, but other than that, this deck, this specialization combo is not going to be very versatile. And I tried it, I played it, I had fun with it, but it was pain. And the last one is the motorized PDV. You have basically no tanks. You have a very strong infantry, but I just didn't found the intersection between the infantry and transports to be very efficient. You have to use these infantry with these transports and the PDV with the other transports. You have enough points in the support, and you have strong helicopter and air tab. This combination has the opposite problem as the previous one. You have no armor, you have no tracked transports. You have some, but those are paper. You are mostly wheeled, you are quick, but you don't have much of a stopping power. So if I would play this spec combo, I would go to the flank and be very aggressive and try to do hit and runs, but you will not be able, or you will not be very successful with grinding with this deck. Alright, that's all the Russians. Let's go to the Americans. So, first one, in S tier we have the Armored Special Forces. I think that many people will just agree that this is the best combination. You just have the best infantry and the best tanks. You have just enough points in support tab to have both long range SAM, SHORAD, VVATs that would protect you from the cruise missiles and siege, but you also have enough points for decent artillery. 2 iron tartars are more than enough, and some logistics. You also have the Comanches, which are excellent at going deep behind enemy lines and scouting. You have Killer X, which can be really a pain in the ass if used properly. In the air, you have F-35s that have a JDAM. This can deal with any targets as long as you maintain lasing. It's also a stealth fighter. And you have a Nighthawks. I decided to bring them because these are those low risk, high reward units that you can successfully strike something. If the enemy doesn't set up properly the AA, you can easily use these cruise missiles to hit something important. Furthermore, the infantry, which is very powerful, has a very good symbiosis with the armored vehicles in armor spec. For example, this AMPV has 12 seats, so we can put Delta Force, which is 12-man squads. Or you can bring double Rangers RRC, which is also 6 and 6 both. Same for STTs, Rangers Javelins, Rangers Moves. You can also put them separately in a Bradley, which has 6 seats. Only Rangers CQC have 9, so they have to be brought in a different transport, but that's not an issue. You also have a stealth helicopters that are excellent and fast, and can deploy either somewhere you want to be quick at the beginning of the game, or you want to be deployed behind enemy lines. So you have shit ton of javelins. Cavalry scouts, use these guys in the doubles, so bring 2 every time, and you can deal with everything because APS will be restarting while the second missile will hit. You have Rangers Javelin, which have the superior javelin with 1500 meters, and you also have good stand-up option. This is the most cost-efficient Abrams in the game. You can even upgrade it and get a second Browning plus 1 more HP. You have the best Abrams in the game. You have this one, which is very good in my opinion, and it's just enough to deal with everything. And you have the stealth drone, Sentinel, which sometimes can't be spotted even if you fly into the enemy Raider AA. You have to keep some distance, but you know what I mean. So, yep. In my opinion, this is the best deck. If you think that there's any other deck for the US that is the best, let me know in the comments. But we're still in the S, and now we go into Marines plus Air. And this is my most favorite combo for now. I'm playing this most. And I think it's because it really fits into my systematic approach of my playstyle. You have almost everything you need. I would say everything. Not almost, but everything. The Marines and Small are your bread and butter. You bring them together in this transport. They can deal with almost everything. You need something more focusing on CQC. Then you bring Marine Raiders with Force Recon, again in this transport. If you want or need more CQC, you can put this into the Black Ops, which will give shotguns and low and Mark 18 CQB. You have a snipers that can lace enemy targets. You have a javelins. These fire 2 javelins in a quite close session after each other, so you get through the enemy APS. You have this Stinger team, which has double Stingers, so again 2 shots after each other. Very good at dealing with Russian helicopters. And you have the airborne NGSV, which are one of the best or the most cost-efficient stand-off infantry squads in the game. Thanks to Marines, you also have very good M1A1s. This is one of the most cost-effective tanks in the game. And you have M8 Thunderbolts. I bring this one with the 120mm gun and only reactive armor. I don't bring Iron Fist because you are decreasing your front and HP, and you don't want that. When we go to supports, you have just enough points for everything you need. You have long range back 2, very efficient. You have Slam Ram, which was recently buffed, and it's just awesome at killing enemy choppers. You have a Brutus artillery. It's M777 upgrade with all guided rounds is just excellent. For 130 points, I don't think you'll get any more cost-efficient artillery system in the game. You also have MTVR and Low L, which are excellent at the logistics, and also MTVR has 21 seats, so you can bring those units I showed before in the same combination, and you can also pack some supplies on top of that. This is great for making smaller supply dumps, and this Katve is awesome, providing similar fire support as TOS-1 for Russians. Very strong helicopter tab, Guardian, Longbow, Kiowa, Lakehawk, and also very strong air. A lot of people also use nuke with this combination. I highly recommend. If you want to bring nuke, the Marine plus air is good for that. Here it is. Otherwise, I don't really use nukes that much. You can have a long-range fighter, the Strike Eagle with clusters, EX Eagle with the cruise missiles and seat, and plus dedicated seat flamethrower. So very strong air tab, very strong infantry plus vehicle. I think there is no weak tab in this combo. That's why I love it, and that's why it's the second best for the Americans. And we have armor plus air. Is very similar to Marine plus air. The main difference is that you have less air and less helicopter, but you have more tanks and more support, and that's it. Basically, yeah, that's it. Basically, you are bringing the Bradleys and AMPVs. You are AMPVs, yeah. Then you have a lot of tanks. You have the cluster rocket artillery, and that's it. Not much different. Both are extremely strong. Just there is a small difference in the kind of play style if you want to apply. And then at the end of S tier we have Armor Marines. I wasn't sure whether to put it into the top of A or the end of S, but I decided to bring it into S because it's highly popular, and same as previously, you are strong everywhere. You are not lacking anything, so I think this is a perfect candidate for the S tier division. So you have enough snipers to laser enemy positions. You have cavalry scouts, excellent, most efficient javelins. You have Marines assault small teams. You have Marine Raiders. You have mechanized riflemen that I brought because of the Bradleys. You have a lot of tanks. You have a lot of points that you can spend on support. So short range fire support, long range fire support, precise artillery, defense against helicopters, defense against ballistic missiles, and long range SAM. Helicopters only 750 points, but that's all you need. I don't think there's much needed. Maybe good mention is this Super Cobra. You have 2 Sidewinders. If you start with both of them at the start of the game, you are most likely to shoot down some of the enemy planes. I had many times. You have the long-range fighter Hornet, F-35B, but with JSOWs, and the Hornet with some clusters. I'm on the fence with the current air section in this deck, but that's because when I play these Armored Marines, I'm playing like heavy metal. I don't really care about airplanes. I sometimes put the Vipers or Cobras as support. I focus mainly on the heavy ground, the Marines with assaultments, supported by Abrams tanks and artillery and MLRS. That's all you need. Then we are moving into the A tier, Marines plus Striker. So I was thinking about this combo as a meta a month ago, but I just don't think that the bookers are that strong as I originally thought. As you can see, this is the first combo where we have a bookers. I don't consider them that very OP as people cry on forums. I believe they should be nerfed in price. They can cost 210, 220 at most, but I don't think it's really that necessary. Maybe cut their availability a little bit, but thing why people cry about bookers so much is that they don't know how to counter it. You have to use your infantry in a couples, or you have to maneuver with your tanks and face them always frontally. You can use cheap D72 for 130 points, I believe, that can easily counter the booker. Anything that has decent frontal armor can counter it. So either use cheap, medium, or heavy tanks, or infantry squads in couples, and you'll be fine to go through the APS and kill this. I have many videos that show that it's just easy to deal with them. Marine and Striker is highly mobile, and it also contains a strong punch. You still have a decent tanks. You have a very strong support tab with HIMARS, CATFE, and also strong logistics. And you also have a decent air force. You can bring long range fighters. You can bring the best seat in the game. I also started using this F-16 Viper. A lot of people are using it with the Stormbreakers. I decided to put 4 JSOVs and the ECM because I wanted to survive. Why 4 JSOVs? 4 JSOVs because they can kill literally anything, and I have 2 of them. And a Fighting Falcon because of the Mavericks. So it's a decent deck, and I love to play it. A lot of people play it. I think it's on a deserved spot right here. Then we have Striker Special Forces. I think that many of you will not expect it to be so high, but this specialization combo excels because of 2 things. First, you have very strong infantry and very good symbiosis because, for example, these Striker vehicles that have nice seats are very good to use with the Rangers from Special Forces, which are also 9-man squads. You have the Sentinels, you have the Rangers RSC and Fire Rescue, which are very effective, and you have so many CQC units that I decided to not bring Delta Force, which is a very feared unit, but I just don't need it here. You also have Bookers, Strikers. You have enough points in your support tab, although I wish there would be more, and you have very strong helicopter and air tab. This deck combo excel in urban combat. I also saw it very effectively used on the flanks, but I think you can grind with these guys as well, because don't have medium or heavy tanks, but everything else is available, so not really bad, and that's why it's an A. Now let's go to the B. Marines, Special Forces are the first ones. There we go. So the reason I put them into the B is that you have just significant weakness, and that's only 750 points in support tab. Therefore, your AA is weak, your artillery is not existent, your logistics are quite weak, and you have to compensate with helicopters and planes. Now, don't get me wrong. This is an area in which it's very strong, and a lot of people use this to bring B2, because you have 2,250 points. So a lot of people use this combo to bring B2 with nuke, but you also have a lot of other very good options. You have a Hornet with Mavericks, you have Nighthawks, F-35s with JDAMs that can kill anything as long as you maintain lanes, and Raptors, which are very, very strong with the stealth and the JDAMs and MRAMs. So if you want to play this combo, you have to rely on deep strikes, hit and run, and helicopter insertion into enemy. You also can play the front lines, but you have to get used to losing a lot of stuff to enemy air, because you will have a trouble to respond to enemy air force and enemy helicopters. But if some of your teammates will manage to deal with that, then, or if you play against someone who will not use air or helicopters, then you'll be just fine. Now we go for the Striker Air, which is at the end of B tier. So the most powerful part of this combo is support, where you have sufficient. You are able to build very sufficient AA net, very strong, most cost-efficient artillery in the game. Also very good MLRS and logistics, but you are missing on tanks, and you don't have planes that are able to counter long-range enemy fighters. And since you have only Eagles or Vipers, if you turn them into ASF, or you can also turn this into ASF, you will have only medium-range MRAMs. Therefore, you will struggle in the long-range air combat. But other than that, infantry is fine. Helicopters are also just enough to provide everything you need. What I wish this combo would have some more specialized infantry in anti-infantry combat, because you have a combat engineers, but if you're fighting a dedicated CQC enemy like the SSOs or the Chenier Baretti, or if you're playing against the US and you're facing Marine Raiders or Delta Force, then you're going to struggle because you don't have that much to play against them. So if you want to play this combination play on the flank, don't go much into forest fights, don't go much into urban CQC combat, and you'll be fine. And we go into the C tier, where is the Armor Striker, and now we'll start to see some significant deficiencies. So as you can tell, you will lack in the air. The only ASF you have is the Fighting Falcon, which is a cheap, but what can it do actually? It can only absorb enemy rockets. You can turn Viper into ASF plane, but I decided to put those 4 JSOVs in there. You have 1 seat. You can build this any way you want, but it will not be very effective because you have only 1,000 points. You have no helicopters, unfortunately, and you have very strong vehicle tap, infantry tap, support tap. This is very good tech if you want to build strong artillery to bomb your enemy into oblivion, because you have so many options. You have HIMARS, you have GMLRS, you have the basic MLRS, you also have the Paladin that can be turned into Iron Thunder, you have the cheaper Paladin, and you also have a very good AA and SAM. Although this is another one that can one-shot the enemy, but it has more missiles, so it can be used good against enemy cruise missiles. You also have good logistics, but the problem with this game is that you always have only 8 slots. So if I would decide to bring less Centurions and one less PvAT, and bring Iron Thunder, for example, I can't, because there is no slot anymore. So that's unlucky, but other than that, it's quite good for that purpose. And if you are bored of artillerying enemy to death, you can bring a lot of infantry with tanks. I think you can see, well, you can combine hookers with Abrams. You can bring the best Abrams in the game. You have some javelins. You also have some anti-infantry units. You have AMPVs, which is good at bringing double squad of mechanized engineers. People also love to bring these troopers in couple, because they can then fire the javelins very quickly at the enemy and fall back. So it's not a bad combination, but you're just missing something that... I mean, if I want to play this way, I would rather play the Armor Marines. They also have a lot of artillery. Or, let's say, even Armor Special Forces is good. Or Marines plus Striker. But Armor and Striker is not really that good in this. But you'll still see people playing it, and I play it also sometimes. And when we go to the D tier, we have the one American Spectre, and that's Air plus Special Forces. You have the best infantry selection in the game. You have the best helicopter, the best air. A lot of people again are using this to bring nuke here, but also nuke over there, so you can bring 2 nukes. You have plenty of points for that, to even bring a seat with that. I don't think there is a dedicated seat. Oh, we can actually use F-35 as a seat with 2 missiles, so it will be quite interesting, but I don't really like nukes. Why is this deck combination in last year? Is because you have almost no vehicles, practically no tanks besides the M8 Thunderbolts. Your infantry is the best in the game, but you can bring them only in helicopters or trucks and jeeps. You can't bring them in APCs or IFVs. That's a huge struggle when assaulting. You have the sentinels, so it's good to mark enemy positions. You have good recon units, but you have no artillery to utilize yourself, so even if you manage to spot something, you have to ask your teammates to deal with that. Yes, of course, you can use your air force, but it's quite limited, because it's very easy to counter air in this game, especially in higher level games when your opponent knows what he's supposed to do and he's aware of the situation. You're not going to do a lot with the air unless you somehow coordinate and have a bit of luck. Then you might, but artillery is much safer and much more effective, and you're lacking that. You have a Brutuses, but the range is not there. So, and you also have no long range AA, so you have to rely on your ASFs, either the Raptor or Eagle. So that was it. This is all the reasoning behind my tier list that I put together as of January 2026. Happy New Year, guys, by the way. If you have a different opinion on something, or you think I forgot to mention anything important, please let me know in the comments, and I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new. So thank you very much, and enjoy playing Broken Arrow. Bye.